Hello guys, welcome to my channel. Today we're going to talk about 2.1 reruns, specifically Miyabi and Yanagi, including Mindscapes and W-Engines, whether you should get them. In case you're interested about Yuzuha or Alice, I already have a video regarding that as well, so feel free to check it out. Within this video, I'll be focusing over reruns. So let's start first with phase 1 banner, which is going to be Miyabi. So the biggest and most easiest question to answer, is Miyabi still worth getting in 2025? The answer is absolutely yes. She will trivialize the game and make your endgame content experience easier. If you do care about pushing for endgame content, including tower gameplay and stuff that we're getting in the near future, Miyabi will help you a lot with that. However, do note that if you get Miyabi on her own without signature V-Engine, you are lacking quite a lot of power behind the character. Miyabi does get so much better if you are able to get her V-Engine. So if you're in a situation where you already have Miyabi, I highly recommend that you pull her V-Engine if you don't have it, so you can improve the damage of her exponentially and make the game much more easier. Also, what I like about Miyabi is that she has a lot of good flexible options. There are many types of anomaly teams you can play Miyabi with. You can also play it with Sokaku plus Lycaon. This will also work really good. However, it is more of a technical team. However, if you're willing to learn it and properly build Sokaku and Lycaon for your Miyabi, you could use that, which works really great, and it also frees your Astra Yao for some other teams. However, you can of course pair up Astra Yao with Miyabi and it's gonna work also really good. So basically for Miyabi, you can play all sorts of supportive and anomaly options with her, and it's gonna work great. However, there is one thing I don't recommend about Miyabi, which would be her Mindscapes. Her Mindscapes actually are not really that strong, if you ask me, compared to her V-Engine. Her V-Engine is much better pickup than, let's say, her M1. And if you're in a situation when you already have Miyabi with V-Engine, I would highly recommend for you guys to pull supports and teammates that can improve Miyabi further instead. Something like Astra Yao, Vivian, Yuzuha, or Yanagi. And also speaking of Yanagi, let's go over her pull value. But before that, I would like to let you know that a lot of you guys who watch me are not subscribed. If you'd like to support this small channel, feel free to subscribe. It's completely free of charge. Smile. And now let's continue with the video. So, Yanagi is a very great pickup if you have an anomaly loaded account with several anomaly agents such as Vivian, Bernice, and of course, Miyabi. Yanagi is gonna work great there. However, if you are a Jane enjoyer and you happen to have Jane Do doesn't really synergize really well with Yanagi, just as a heads up. But of course, you can also play Yanagi more as a hyper carry focused character. It is possible, but I don't think it's as strong as playing an actual anomaly team. Personally, I would recommend to pick Yanagi if you have anomaly characters in your account and you want to strengthen your anomalies. Great choice, great pickup. However, if you don't have Miyabi in your account, I would highly recommend you prioritize getting Miyabi plus her V-Engine over Yanagi. If you happen to have both Miyabi and her signature on the account, then Yanagi is a great pickup. And if you're in a situation where you already have all those three things, her V-Engine, for Yanagi that is also quite strong, great pickup. Actually, there was a time, for quite some time, when this V-Engine used to be bugged and the anomaly build-up rate used to work for all elements. This has been fixed since Jane Doe Rerun, but nevertheless, it's still a great V-Engine. It is kind of splashable to other agents as well if you want to use them. It can work because it does provide anomaly proficiency boost and also disorder damage boost as well. So this is something that can be interchangeable and used more by other anomaly agents, unlike the Miyabi V-Engine, which is not really that flexible for anomaly agents. So Time Weaver, pretty goated option. However, Yanagi also has some interesting Mindscapes that you could also consider going for. But once again, as a reminder, I would only recommend recommend going for these Mindscapes if you already have Yanagi with the V-engine and also Miyabi with the V-engine. If you happen to have that, you could go potentially for some of her Mindscapes. Her M1, I'm not really a big fan of it. It does give you invulnerability, which kind of makes it easier to play, especially for tower content and anomaly proficiency buff. But where it's at is basically her M2. Her M2 provides you the ability to hold down her special attack and perform rapid thrust hits. However, it does consume additional energy. You're not necessarily gonna utilize this to its full extent within a Miyabi team, but for some other type of teams with Yanagi, this should work quite well. Also, damage multiplier for Polarity Disorder is increased on top of that, and also the extra thrust from the special attack can increase this multiplier further, so you can do quite a lot of damage with her M2. It's not weak by any means, but personally, I would not really recommend going for Mindscapes, and if you truly want to go for them, I would recommend focusing on getting support Mindscapes instead, which can enhance your teams just as well, and also support type of characters like Astra Yao works in multiple teams, so if you get her Mindscape, for example, you'll be able to provide all attribute resistance reduction, which will help you quite a lot for multiple teams. It's pretty a good one. Of course, also stunners have M1 Mindscapes that can be quite useful, and they can work in multiple different teams compared to a DPS, a normally character that might be having not as much flexibility, because characters like Jufufu, Trigger can be played in all kinds of various teams. And let's not forget Caesar as well. She is also kind of like flexible option too, and her M1 also does provide a nice all attribute res. So these are the type of Mindscapes in general I would recommend kinda aiming for splashable characters that can give you better coverage for your account if you really want to get Mindscapes. But just as a reminder again, I don't really recommend going for Mindscapes. I would recommend going for the characters and potentially their V-engines first, especially for characters like Miyabi. I would say the priority for a V-engine is extremely high. It's a very noticeable upgrade, and it's gonna definitely make your game easier. But also realize that I probably should go over her first two Mindscapes, at least to explain why I don't believe they're that valuable. So basically, Miyabi's M1 only provides defense ignore for an enhanced basic attack, not for the entire kit. So the ultimate damage, X special, and so on does not benefit from that defense ignore. Meanwhile, if you pick the support Mindscape or even a V-engine in some cases on a support, it can enhance your Miyabi and the rest of the team further, all of the damage. Also, her V-engine will naturally boost all of her damage compared to this. Of course, she has a buff within this M1, which does provide anomaly build-up rate by 20% boost for the entire team. But now with Yuzuha, this is not as valuable if you ask me, because Yuzuha does have an anomaly build-up buff for your entire team, and that's at M0. So just by getting Yuzuha and using Yuzuha within the team, if you want the anomaly build-up rate, you'll have it for the entire team. Pretty good. However, do note you will require a significant gearing investment on Yuzuha to be able to reach all the way up to 20% anomaly build-up rate. But even if you're like at 14, 15, 16%, it's still already very powerful and strong. As for M2, this one, it boosts your Kazahana and dodge counter damage by 30%. Do note this is not enhanced basic attack. Yes, now you'll have the ability to get Fallen Frost stacks with doing basic attacks, but if you're playing in an anomaly team, for example, you will have plenty of Fallen Frost stacks anyway. Should be even easier now with Yuzuha more likely, so this is kind of like not really needed. And critical rate boost is also very likely to be overkill anyway. It does make it, I guess, easier to build her, but it's not really that impactful. So basically, Miyabi Mindscapes are not that impactful compared to her V-engine, or straight up pulling other agents, which will directly buff your Miyabi further, and also other teammates, depending on supports. If it's Yuzuha, she's gonna pretty much work in all kinds of anomaly teams. If it's Astra Yao, it's pretty much splashable everywhere at the moment, at least. So yeah, this is pretty much it for this video. If you have any questions or like to add something yourself, feel free to write it within the comments down below. And as always, I wish you a wonderful day, guys. Take care and see you in the next video. Ciao.